Nicholas Frank. Nicholas Frank is an artist who has been a singing flower, a professional curator and art fair organizer, a college art teacher and administrator, a fiction writer and experimental poet, an artist in residence, and relocated here because he fell in love and then got married. He writes about San Antonio culture for the Rivard Report, a local nonprofit news organization. Please join me in welcoming Nicholas Frank.
A wandering man can find his heart here in San Antonio. I like that lyric, Noah. Thank you for that. I guess that was especially for me. This is an image of maybe my most important show as an artist, titled Nicholas Frank Biography. That's right, nothing. Chalk it up to a misunderstanding, but the curator took down the show before I could get images. Pics or it didn't happen, right? That would be much of my life. This is the only photograph I have of the gallery I used to run in Milwaukee. You can see it's the last photo on the roll, partially exposed. Didn't have digital cameras back then. This is literally one of the only photos from the Milwaukee International Art Fair I helped organize in 2006 at a neighborhood bowling alley and beer hall, much like this building. But this was Milwaukee, so naturally we hired a polka band to play the opening. It's the symbol over there. This is me in 2003, looking a bit overwhelmed as a guitarist for a band called EZT. We were on a UK tour, recording a Peel session for the BBC. Leaving the hotel in the morning, I had a massive brain fail, forgetting half my equipment. Our poor tour manager had to drive across London to fetch my stuff for me. Funny how the mind works against itself. Also, as it happens, legendary DJ John Peel died a month after our session, and the recordings were locked away forever. The songs were heard only once, broadcast on the BBC, and legally we couldn't release them. So I might not have all the crucial stuff from my past, but at least I have 1,000 pictures documenting interesting beer foam lacings. I mean, I have my priorities straight. It takes up all the memory on my iPhone. So, in honor of all my lapses, I made a record called Greatest Skips, the compilation of all the best skips in my record collection. It's the idea of a record working against itself, against its programming, refusing to do what it's supposed to do. Nice. At the time, it felt like the whole country was doing the same thing. So was my mother's brain. Her name was Ruth. She used to tell a joke. I got into a convertible with my friends. They took off and I fell out. But they kept going. They drove on ruthlessly. She would love it if you just laughed. In 2012, she had a stroke, and her brain drove on ruthlessly without her. She recognized me, which was lucky, but she didn't know herself anymore. If I showed her photos from her past, she'd make up captions describing herself as someone else. She'd call her brain her clunker. Thank you. For me, the record skipping is like how my mom's brain changed. Her memory window started shrinking after the stroke from 20 minutes down to about 30 seconds before she'd start asking the same questions over again. No future, no past. I came to San Antonio in 2017 as an artist in residence at Art Pace. One of the first things I saw was this sign on the Guadalupe Street Bridge, the beer that made Milwaukee famous. Turns out they're both old German beer cities with Mexican polkas on every South Side jukebox. Then I moved here, and my first winter in San Antonio, it snowed. My then fiance, Amada, blamed me for it, but she's now my spouse. Clearly, San Antonio is a welcoming place. One artist here generously lent me her ceramic wheel while I was at Art Pace and participated in a fierce debate night Amada and I put on with Anjali Gupta at Sala Diaz. That artist was Katie Pell, of course, to whom tonight's event is dedicated. In honor of the lost art show I mentioned first, I later made a new project called the Nicholas Frank Biography. It's a way for me to make fun of myself for my persistent failures to document my life in the form of these book pages. So, in March 2013, I showed in New York City. I did a performance that became a book page for the biography. I designed the dancers' costumes and directed them. This picture was made into a little black and white image for what became one of the book pages. Then, in December, an artist friend sent me this message. Everyone speculated Beyonce's art director must have been in New York early in the year, then made a video for her song Ghost on the Lemonade record. People said I should sue. Thankfully, someone noticed. This was posted to a website called Who Wore It Better, recording the situation for all time. I love that the web is a kind of ghost, hanging on to things that pass by so quickly. At the bottom of this page is my friend Brittany, who sewed the costumes for me. At right is Beyonce. It's uncanny. But I'm thinking Beyonce must have been doing some deep research, maybe even in Milwaukee. That's me in the ghost costume, performing in what we called a seance improv rock and roll jazz band called Demono. I mean, all you have to do is start playing and all the echoes of music, history just spring forth out of your instrument. Sort of like the greatest skips. And my last slide is you, the audience. This is in honor of my mom, of Katie, and the idea that we are all each other's memory.
Thank you, Nicholas. That was wonderful. I'm going to have you, eat the mic, speak right into it. Yes.
All right.
Can we hear you?
How's that?
Hear us a little better now? So you are fabulously dressed tonight, as you always are.
Thank you.
I know a coworker of yours at the Rivard Report has also noticed. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, Jackie Wang, who's our general assignment reporter at the Rivard Report. She's here tonight, right? She has a Twitter feed called What is Nicholas Wearing Today? You can look it up.
So March is Contemporary Art Month here in San Antonio. Do you have any work that's going to be currently on view for these wonderful people to see?
In fact, yes, and I'm honored. Actually, my wife and I both have work in a show at the McNay. It's up right now. I know, it's such an honor. It's amazing. Thank you. Yeah, it's up at the McNay. It's open right now. It opened basically Valentine's Day. And there are other great artists, believe me, in San Antonio in the show. But please come to the opening. It's March 12th at the McNay for Contemporary Art Month.
For the perennial exhibition, group exhibition. Yes, please come to that. And, we're friends. We've discussed before we have kind of this multi-hyphenate career where you do, you work in different methods and it comes out in different forms in your creative practice. So considering that, what kind of forms do you think your work might take next?
Well, I'm thinking of doing a lot of public speaking with slide images.
Well, you're great at it. Thank you, Nicholas. Another round of applause for Nicholas Frank, everybody.